All right, y'all, let's go. You finally found a contract that you like. Now, what do you do? This is where the money starts moving. So, tonight I'm going to walk you through step by step what to do after you found the perfect bid on sam.gov or honestly on any portal. This is the one part that people get stuck on, but not you, right? Not after tonight. I'm going to break it down and I'm going to make it simple so that you can get ready to submit a proposal with confidence. If you ever looked at a contract and said, I don't even know where to start, this live is for you. Grab your pen and your notebook because we're about to go over this step by step process on what to do after you have chosen a government contract that you like. And you already know that I found one that I like, right? So we're going to use a sample one tonight. I went on sam.gov, found my own bid, and I'm going to show you the 10 steps, right? Because now I have a bid that I like, that I'm ready to bid on. But after you start to think, so I found a bid that I like, but like, now what, right? Now, what do I do after I found this bid? I'm going to show you, and I'm going to maneuver as if I'm bidding on this contract tonight, right? So I'm going to share my screen. Now, the bid that I found, the proposal that I like, is on sam.gov. It is for UTVs. And I did a little bit of research on it, but not much because I wanted to do a majority of my research with y'all, right? So let's get into it, y'all. All right. So let me get rid of this. I'm going to go into sam.gov. Oh, I already have the documents pulled up. All right, so let me share. I notice a lot of people get confused on this part. They find a bid and they're like, well, where do I go from here, right? So this is the bid that I found that I really like. And it's something that I thought was easy. Notice it doesn't have a lot of attachments down here. There's only 2 attachments to this proposal, which makes it less complicated. You know, you don't want to go after a bid that has, it can be overwhelming if it had 10 documents, right? And they're all attachments. You don't want to deal with that right here, right now. You're just starting out. You want to pick something that's easy and you finally found it. So where do you go from there, right? So let's start with the solicitation. Well, first, you have to open your documents. That's first. Okay, you can read the description that they give you here. Put it in GPT for simpler terms. I would read some of this. Description of requirement is 4x4 utility terrain vehicles. They are similar to ATVs. That's one thing I know. But the subcontractor is going to teach me a lot more. The government requires that the purchase of a 4x4 utility terrain vehicle that meets the specifications within the minimum specs. So I think they're only looking for one. All offers must be included and meet the specs, right? Partial quotes are not accepted. They're telling you that right here. Quotes must include delivery date, your SAM unique ID number, which is your UEI number, and your EIN number. Right here, this is very important. Right off jump, they're telling you award will be made to the lowest price offer that meets the technical characteristics. So they're giving you specifications and they're looking for the lowest price. That's the focus. Okay. So don't come out here, get a subcontractor to price you 13,000 on this utility vehicle and then think you're going to add another 13,000. Okay. You want to be smart and you want to think about your expenses. What are your monthly expenses? So you have a number to add to the contract as your profit, right? What are you paying for your subscriptions monthly, your general liability, your company expenses? What do you pay for every month? You want to add that profit into this contract. Okay, special instructions. Offerors, that's why here, the very first thing you're going to do after you like a contract is you're going to read it. That's number one. Offerors shall be required to return the attached standard form 1449. That's down here in the documents. See that SF 1449? That's what they're referring to, right? You have to sign it and fill it out appropriately as their offer, along with any additional information. Pricing must be FOB destination. If you see something that says FOB, it means that they want the shipping quote inside of your quote. They don't want you, they're not giving you a line item just to be able to bid on shipping. The FOB means free on board. So if you put a quote in for $13,000 and you want to add shipping, you need to add an additional $1,200, $1,300 to the full quote, which is now it's making it $14,300, right? They're not going to give you a separate line to put shipping on. They want it inside the original quote. Here's another thing. Pricing must be FOB to this zip code, and the pricing has to be valid for 45 days. So when you talk to a subcontractor, you need to ask, first things first, how long does this quote last? I need a quote on a UTV. Here are the specifications. How long is this quote good for? If it's only good for 3 days, that is not good. You need to negotiate with the subcontractor how you can get them to approve this quote for 60 days. You want them to be able to hold that price quote for you. Because what will happen is subcontractor will give you a price, $10,000. You will add your $3,000 margin. If you are awarded this contract and you go back and the subcontractor says, well, the prices on UTVs went up, now you're in trouble. Now you have money that is unaccounted for, right? So ask the sub, how long is this quote good for? Because the quote has to be valid for 45 days. Questions. Every single contract you can ask questions. Just be mindful that everyone can see these questions. They're not going to put out there what company asked them, but everybody can see the questions that you're asking. Please refrain from asking repetitive questions. If something is in the bid, this is why the first step is reading. If something is in the bid that is already there and you ask a question, it will show that you are there's kind of some, maybe a little bit of rookie tendencies, or it's going to show that you didn't read or really understand the contract. So you want to make sure that the question that you're asking is not already explained in the contract. Okay, that's very important. Your due date and time. They're letting you know right here. Late offers. Offerers are responsible for submitting offers and any modifications, revisions, or withdrawals. The government quotations or modifications of the quote received at the email address specified for the receipt of offers at the exact time specified. You cannot be late. You cannot miss the deadline on this contract. Your point of contact that you're going to reach out to ask questions is Riley Smith. This is the email that you're going to use to reach out. When you are addressing a contracting officer, please be respectful, right? Use ChatGPT to put your questions together, right? We learned that yesterday night that you can use ChatGPT to address a subcontractor, contracting officer. Just make sure they're not questions that are already answered. You know, they're going to say things like, oh, we're going to refer you to page 33. If they say things like that, it's already in the document, already in the text. So first one we're going to open up is, let's open up the specs first. So we're going to open up the specifications. Now, what this is telling you is what the government is looking for. So when you reach out to a subcontractor in the area, this is the discussion you're going to have with them. My name is Deborah Smith. I am the owner of DD Logistics. I am currently looking to get a price on a 4x4 utility terrain vehicle, right? The minimum vehicle specifications, would I possibly be able to email you over the specs that we are looking for? Me and I don't want to go over all of this with the subcontractor, right? I could, but I'm going to ask for their email. Could I email you the specifications that you need to be able to price this product properly? And they're going to say absolutely, right? I'm going to give them some basic information like it's a 4x4. It has to be enclosed cab with painted doors, heating and air conditioning. That looks like it's minimum standard things. But then there's some accessories that you have to add here. Like all of this is additional. You have to add a power lift or a power tilt bed for the cargo handling, a dome light, multiple different things that you have to add to the UTV. Copy all of this and paste it to your subcontractor, right? You have to look at your documents second, okay? You have to make sure you're reading and opening your documents. All offers must include this full configuration and meet or exceed the listed specification. Partial quotes will not be accepted. So don't try to put a partial quote in. Quotes must include estimated delivery. Okay, you have to add your UEI and your EIN. All right, so this information is a little bit repetitive, but now what we're going to do, if you look on sam.gov, it's going to tell you right here. The place of performance, that's where the work needs to take place. That's where they need the UTV delivered. Campus, Douglas, Wisconsin, 54618. Right? So what we're going to do is search in Google. UTV we're going to put 4x4 UTV manufacturers, and what was it? The area? Campus, Douglas, Wisconsin. Oh, I copy and pasted it. Good. If you in, let's see what we come up with. All right, so this is in the area of where this work needs to be played out, where the work needs to be done, right? So automatically 3 people already pop up. 3 companies pop up in this area right away, right? Rusty ATVs, Real Brothers Harley Davidson. Look at all the subcontractors that you have to choose from on Google. Midwest Power Sports. You can click on each one, go to their website, and search their website. If they don't have a website, that's very unfortunate, but you're still going to have to make the call to be able to talk with them and get a price quote, right? So let's see if this one looks like this one has, so they're in Toma, Wisconsin. You want to make sure that the company is close, right? Because you want to try to save on shipping. You don't want to look for a UTV dealership in Florida and the work and the product that they're looking for is in Wisconsin, because now you have all these miles to travel. The freight is expensive, and you don't want to do that. Okay, you want to make sure that the product that they're looking for is close to the place of performance. And you're going to do some research on these websites, okay, to look for the UTV vehicle. If you can find it, reach out and call them. Say, hey, on your website, I saw a 4x4 UTV. Can you tell me a little bit more about it? I have some specs in mind. Can I email them to you? And it looks like they have more than UTVs. But what happens is if you make a relationship with this company, Toma Area Power Sport, you can start bidding on contracts where they request dirt bikes, Polaris, ATVs, UTVs, jet skis. They have all kinds of stuff, right? So here's how we're going to do it. You're going to get 3 to 5 companies off of this list because you need 3 to 5 quotes. So these companies in this area, you don't have any data if you don't have 3 to 5 quotes. You need to be able to look at pricing and then determine what is the best option. You don't want to do that with just one, right? You're not going to buy a house and look at one house and then buy that one house. You're not going to go car shopping and buy the first car that you see. And I hope that you don't buy the first car that you see, right? I hope that you don't go with the first insurance quote. I hope that you don't go with the first house that you see, right? We love options, right? We love options. So you want to make sure that you have 3 to 5 contractors. So look at this whole list. Motorcycle dealers, all dealers that sell UTVs in the area for the place of performance. Pick 3 to 5 and reach out. Okay. Ask for their email. And then once you get their email, send them all of these specs. Don't send them this information up here. All right. Leave that out. Send them this: the minimum vehicle specs and the required equipment and accessories. That's what you're going to send them, right? And I want to mention something too, which is the bid type. So it's a total small business set aside, but what it looks like it is here is an RFQ. This is not an RFP. And how you know is because they're basically explaining to you that, I'm looking for the section right here, awards will be made to the lowest priced offer that meets the technical characteristics. So if you meet the specs and you have the lowest price, that's an RFQ, more like an IFB, right? And we talked about the difference. Okay, so then you have to clarify your questions. Now, you read all of the contract. If there's questions that you have, a question and an answer will be posted, if required, approximately 3 business days after all questions have been received. So there's a deadline for questions, and doesn't say anything about when the questions are due. The offers are due August 8th, but it doesn't say when the questions are due, right? So now let's look at the SF 1449. This needs to be filled out and returned, this one document here. All right, needs to be filled out and returned. Here's where you need to pay attention, okay? After you get your subcontractor quotes, you should have connections with subcontractors first to get your pricing. All right, you read the contract, you connected with subcontractors, you started getting pricing. All right, now you're going to have to start filling out some paperwork and creating a checklist. Sometimes government contracts come with checklists, other times they don't. Okay, create a checklist. Open a Word document and make a checklist on what they need. Use ChatGPT, right? And once again, read. All right, so the SF 1449 is requesting. Now up here, this one of 35 is telling you there's 35 documents attached to this solicitation. Offer to complete blocks 12, 17, 23, 24, and 30. If you fill out any other blocks, you did not follow directions. Okay, they asked you to fill out 12, which is right here, discount terms. 17, contractor offer, which is your cage code right here. 23, which is going to have something to do with pricing, I'm sure. Yep, unit price, number 23. And they also asked you to fill out 24 and 30. I think 30 is going to be a signature. Yeah, 30 is a signature, and then 24, which also, yeah, has to do with the total price amount, right? Don't fill out anything else. They're only asking you to fill out 5 blocks. The rest of it, they have handled, right? The contracting officer is going to fill that out. See, they asked for shipping FOB, but then they gave us a line for shipping. Usually they wouldn't do that. When you see firm fixed price, What that means is the price stands. Whatever price you give them is a firm, fixed price. Once you are awarded, you cannot negotiate it at all. Whatever price you give them, you are stuck with that price, which is why you need to be talking to subcontractors about how long a quote is valid, right? So create a checklist and look at all these documents. Now I'm operating as I am actually bidding on this. So forgive me if it seems like it's all over the place. Unit price is how much the actual unit is. Is it $10,000? If it is, you need to put that here. And then from there, you're going to add your profit margin. Is it 15%? So if your profit margin is 2,000, put 10,000 here as the unit price, 12,000 here as the amount. They know what you mean, right? And then the line item 1,000. If a shipping company, they're charging you 800 and you want to add another 500, put that on the shipping line, right? You want to make profit off of shipping, just like you want to make profit off of the product. So if you're making 2,000 in product, 2,000 in profit off of the product, you're also going to be making an additional $800 off of the shipping. You should be making profit there as well. You should also know your overall expenses for the month. How much money do you spend to operate? That's what you need to know, because then you can say, okay, well, I need $1,700 to operate my business effectively per month. I'm going to add $1,700 just to make sure that my business can operate for the next month. Or your yearly costs. What are your yearly costs to operate? Those are numbers that you need to know so that you can look at these contracts and know what to add. Throwing numbers out there that don't exist are how you lose contracts. And that's just God's honest truth. That's just me being honest with you. If you start throwing numbers out there and they don't make sense, it's going to be bad, okay? Because you're going to have profit coming in and you're not going to know what to do with it, right? Like I pay for certain subscriptions every month. I have bonds that I have to pay, liability insurance that I pay a monthly premium. Sometimes I need to, I think it's once a year, update my LLC. It's only $9. So what? I'm adding that to my profit, right? I have operational expenses that I have to pay every month. So when the profit comes in, it's like, okay, if I add 3,000 here, my business can operate fully for the next 3-4 months off of this one contract, and the next one I hit will actually be profit, right? So that's important. Just don't throw numbers in the air. Where were we? Right here. All right. One thing that threw me off a little bit is they gave us the shipping line. If you're asking for FOB, the price, the shipping quote inside of the quote, why did you give us a shipping line item? I don't understand that. It should have just been one thing. And this doesn't even, it makes it look scary, but some of these pages are blank. So there's really not even 35 documents. Inspection. So it looks like they have to be inspected. The UTV that comes through, the inspection and acceptance location, you have to coordinate with the point of contact for delivery. That's what POC means. And get with Riley Smith, and he's going to have to get everything approved before you can deliver that UTV. All right, delivery has to be by December 1st. And I'm just breezing through. Party to pay transportation, ship to this. So this is where you're shipping, right? So you know that you have to be close to using a subcontractor in the Wisconsin area. These are FAR clauses. These scare people because the FAR, really what it is, it's rules and regulations to work with the federal government. You're not going to see these on state and local contracts, but in SAM.gov you are. It's the playbook for government contracting, and it's a very big book. But what I would do is I would just copy and paste all of this, put it in ChatGPT, and simply ask, what does it mean? In simplest terms, right? Like we did the other night. So I'm not going to read through this whole thing because I want to really, it looks like it's a lot of terms and conditions, but that's what you're going to do. All right, so let's do a recap. You're going to read carefully. You're going to determine what type of bid is this. Is it a solicitation? It's a small business set aside. We know that. Then you're going to ask some questions. If there's questions that you don't see in the contract, reach out to the point of contact right here. Did we lose him? Oh, his name is all questions concerning the solicitation. Oh, there is a deadline for questions sent via email to this person by July 28th. So you need to get all your questions in by then, which means the contract should be fully read. Okay, so you can ask questions like, how would you like us to deliver? What kind of surface are we delivering on? Is it grass? Is it gravel? Are there any poles that are in the way? Would you like a flatbed? How do you want us to deliver this product? So certain questions that you want to ask, you need to reach out to this person. That's who's in charge. So clarify your questions, then create a checklist. This one doesn't have a checklist, so create your own. Okay, figure out what they are looking for. You know that you have to meet the specs. You know the SF 1449, it needs to be returned every single time. There's not a time when you see one of these SF 1449s and it doesn't need to be returned. Also, point of contact's phone number is on here, and Riley Smith is the point of contact. But if they're giving you an email, I would rather use that instead, because I know a lot of contracting officers are extremely busy. Like, they're just not working on one contract. If we looked up Riley Smith and the agency that he's in, what is it? Oh, the Air Force. He's probably on multiple different contracts, right? Send him an email. When he sees it, he'll get it and he'll respond, right? That's why you should be giving yourself some time. So create a checklist. Right? So, okay, then you're going to start building your proposal. Now, making a cover photo for this, I showed you in another live video how to make a cover photo with Canva. That's what I would do. One thing I am going to do is scroll through right here and see if there's any other documents that have to be signed. It looks like a lot of this is terms and conditions. This one might need to be signed. I just want to see if it's just the SF 1449. It looks like it's just that. Right, so I'm going to save this. Now, you see how this document is 35. This document is 35 pages. There is a tool. Y'all know I love my tools. It's called ilovepdf.com, or you can use Adobe. So what I'm going to do is, it's a free tool. I want to split these documents. I want the SF 1449 to pull away from all those other 35 documents, because I'm not going to return all 35 of those. There's just no way, no how. Right? They don't want all those documents returned. They just want to make sure that you're reading and understanding. All right, so you see the one in the 35? What I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to drop this all the way down to 1, because the only one that I want, oh, you know what? I think I want, I'm sorry. I want 1, 2, and 3, because 3 was the price list, right? So pull the 3 pages away from those other 35 because you don't need them. So now it just gave us the first 3. SF 1449, that blank page, which is driving me crazy, and the pricing. This is the pricing sheet that they're using, which is very simple, and I really like it. They don't use an Excel spreadsheet. They just use a clean format, which I really like. All right, so let me save this. First 3 pages. What I like to do too is create folders based off of the contracts. If I was really bidding on this, I would open up a folder in my documents, a new folder, and call it UTV with the solicitation number. That way I can put all of my documents in that one folder, right? So I'm going to move to Adobe. Not really, you should be using Adobe for government contracting, but I don't like it. I don't know. I like PDF Escape. I think that's because I don't know. I just like PDF Escape better. I'm not really a fan of Adobe. I don't like the way it operates and functions, but that's where I'm going to move it for this sake so we can build a proposal, right? Now, as you're building this proposal, once again, all right, so we took those first 3 pages. We're going to take them right to Adobe and we're going to start working on them. Okay, and this is an easy proposal. This is not something where this is technically an RFQ IFB. You don't have to explain yourself here. They just want a price on their UTV, and they want you to sign a few documents and submit it, right? So done. If you can get a hold of 3 to 5 subcontractors, put this proposal together, you can have this done in less than submitted, right? Which is very exciting. Yeah, see, I'm really not a fan. Okay, so we need to complete a certain amount of boxes, right? One of them is 12. What this means right here, discount terms, you can say something like, we will give you a 2% discount. Now, all these numbers are just examples. We're going to give you a 2% discount at net 14 terms. What that means is if you pay us, the government pays us in 14 days, we're going to give them a 2% discount, right? That's what they're asking. If you don't want to give a discount, put NA, but you can use this one box to get paid quicker, right? Or you could say something like 5%, 1%. You're just trying to get paid quicker so you can pay your subcontractor quicker and you can move on with getting your profit in the entire process, right? Because that's really what we're working towards. So that's what 12 is. 17 is your code, which this is my code, my cage code. That's what they're asking for right there. Facility code, you don't have to worry about that. 23 and 24 and 30. Now 23 and 24 have to do with price. So you're going to have to enter those twice, right? It's asking for it here and it's asking for it again on the second page. I think they do that for like clarification. I don't know. Let's just say that this UTV is 8,000. It's weird. There's no space to be able to punch in right here. Like I would ask that question. Why don't I would ask the contracting officer, why do I not have the option to write in the block number 24 when that's when it's requesting, right? 23 and 24 need to be answered, but we have no access to block 24. Could be Adobe. That's one reason I just don't like to use it. And 30 is your signature. Boom. Put it right there, make it a little bit bigger. And there you go. SF 1449 is filled out, right? Now, that one blank page is driving me nuts. We're going to come down here and, yeah, once again, acting funky. Oh, I don't like Adobe. I should be able to write here. It's not even giving me the box to write. The author of this form has specified the fields which you can fill. Yeah, so it's not Adobe. It's actually the contracting officer not letting me write in the box number 24. I would ask that question. Why don't I have access to a box that you're requesting that I fill out? Oh, no, I don't want to mess with any of that. Is it going to let me right here? Yeah, okay. Oh, this is driving me insane. All right, 8,000. I'll make the font bigger later. But, oh, not 80,000. Here. Now, you're going to add 2,000. And they know what you're doing here. They know that you're unit pricing it and then adding a margin, right? So put 10,000. That right there is giving you a $2,000 margin. These numbers are just made up. They're not real. They don't exist. Okay. So don't come for me. Right. I'm just showing you an example so that we can actually put the proposal together. All right. So I'm going to use, ooh, all right. This is going to drive me insane. Like, why wouldn't it let me text there? You know, that's very extremely frustrating. I need to be able to write there so we can put a proposal together. In a minute, I'm just about to leave it blank. Okay, so if shipping is $800, no. If shipping is $1,000 and you want to add a $400 margin, put 1,400. So now it's not just 2,000 on the profit; it's actually 2,400 because you're making a profit off of shipping too, which I love for you, right? You should be making a profit on each line item. When I say line item with the number, one line item here, one line item here. That is exactly what I mean. Okay. Each line item that you are bidding on, you should be making a profit. Okay. I don't want you bidding on nothing where you're not making a profit. So 1,400 here, 1,400 there. Let's move this over a little bit. You kind of get in the feel why I don't like Adobe. I don't like the way it acts. I don't like its attitude. I don't like the way it acts. Like act right. Like do you have one job? Do your job. I'm just gonna leave that like that because it's driving me insane. All right, we got other things to do. All right, so now that we're building the proposal, uh, we're gonna keep this. We're gonna save a copy. Right, and we're gonna call it UTV sample. So we got the UTV sample. We have those 2 pages that we need, SF 1449 and the other pricing page. So we got to go back and see what else we need because really they're just looking for these 2 documents. Like, create a cover page, make it look simple. Like we could even go to Canva and do that together, right? Really quick. Like let's look at some Canva templates and literally put this proposal together and submit it to the government. You can submit it via email. That's how you utilize SAM.gov. You take the email that they give you, reach out, and submit your proposal via email, which I like because it leaves a paper trail. It shows that you actually submitted the bid at what time. Now, I wouldn't do it anywhere near the deadline. Your bids need to be submitted at least 3 days ahead. You don't want to cut it too close. You know what I'm going to put in there? Yeah, something of that nature. Like right here, I would use something like this and just customize the templates, right? Um, so let's just use that as a sample. Go back to my video where I use Canva to make a cover page, and it'll show you how to utilize and create this. For now, I am going to save this because I want to actually build a proposal with you. So I'm going to download it. I'm going to download it in PDF standard. But y'all know how I feel about the cover page because it's real professional, right? Even if they're just asking for 2 pages to be put together, right? So after we're done building the proposal, and I like this because there's not many documents to go with this. So it's less confusing, which is also why I chose it. So we're going to move on to the next step. First, you read carefully. Second, determine the bid type. Third is to clarify questions. Please keep the questions sharp. Okay, if something's not there, ask a question, but don't ask questions about things that are already in the contract. Create a checklist on what you need. You needed a SF 1449. You also needed the pricing page. That should go on your checklist. Start to build the proposal. And then we're going to gather the required attachments. I'm going to go back to I Love PDF. And then instead of splitting a document, I'm going to merge a document together, right, to put the proposal together. So this is what I mean. If you look in the left-hand corner, I create folders for everything. All right, so we need our cover page, right? We're going to add that. We need our first 3 pages, but are these the pages that are actually filled out, right? Because Adobe doesn't want to listen. So let's pick that one. Let me merge these together. Then you merge them all together, you download them, and then you look over them. If something's not merged right or something's incorrect, doesn't make sense, you can do it again. Yeah, this isn't the one that's filled out. This right here is driving me nuts, but I'm going to keep it there. So I have a cover page, right? Now I'm gathering all the required documents that I need. I love that you don't need a lot. You have your cover page, you have your SF 1449, and you have your pricing sheet. If you want to add your capability statement, you can. You can definitely add your capability statement to make it look more, well, a capability statement is like your business resume. I would add my capability statement to show them that I often bid in this niche, right? Or to help them understand what my company deals with or bids on a everyday basis. So I would add my capability statement. Plus, it has my website on there, things like that. But let me go back here. Oftentimes, there's a secondary point of contact. That's if you can't get a hold of the first person. So we started to gather the required documents. That's what we did here. We merged them all together, right? And let me show you something with the RFP. I've showed you this contract before. No, that there's another contract that I have that I'm going to show you. If you see, it's in a folder, right? When I bid it on this one project, every single document that needed to be signed went into one folder so that I could, this was the entire folder, everything that you see here, so I can be organized in what I'm doing, okay? Like first page, SF 1449, understanding the project. You have to do each document individually and then bring them all together for one understanding. I'm looking for the actual full proposal. I might have to look in my email. Yeah, I think I'm going to. First page, requirement, trucks, SF30, quote price schedule, revise, ready to submit, cover page, past performance, FAR. Stop sharing for a minute. Hi, John. Am I into micro purchases? The first contract that I actually won was a micro purchase with Erie County. Yes. Marcus, I can. Let me write that down. Share a SF. I can actually really do it for you right now. And in the master class. Let me just write this note down. I stopped sharing for a second because I'm about to pull up a contract that I put together to show you, because this one that we're working on, it really doesn't have that many documents. So if I could show you a whole contract that's put together, I think that would be easier to understand. All right, let me look up. All right, bear with me 1 second because I'm going to pull up this entire contract, Yep, here it is right here. I think this is a better, all right, you ever just have so many tabs open? Like, why do you have so many tabs open? You don't need all those. Okay. All right. Let me share my screen again, and I'm going to show you a proposal that I actually put together. All right. So the proposal I actually put together, it came with a checklist, and this is what I mean. The contracting officer put a checklist together, right? Checklist for quote submission. She told me everything that I needed in order to get back to her, in order to bid. So I had to put all these documents together. She wanted me to have signed and acknowledged SF 1449, all amendments, completed provisions for the FAR, and then she wanted me to provide adequate product information. And, oh, this is for the seed brush machine. That's right. Okay. And technical specs reflecting the level and the quality. So she created a checklist for me. If a bid doesn't have a checklist, please create one for yourself so you can stay organized, right? So she was looking for a very specific machine in Yosemite Valley so they can sift through seeds. I've never heard of a machine like this, but I had to start doing research so I can bid on this. So she let me know right off bat. Number one was this page of the solicitation completed as the first page in the packet. She wanted this to be the first page. After that, there was some information to fill out. Right here, this is her SF 1449. Once again, she's telling me 12, 17, 23, 24, and 30. Right? So 12, I didn't give them a discount. 17, I put in my cage code. Facility code you don't need, but you do need to put your cage code because that's how they look up your company on sam.gov. 23 and 24 is usually about price, which it is. Now let me show you. You see how I put that unit price there? 49,000. The amount is different from the unit price. The reason for that is because your profit margin is in the full amount. Right? So there's a like a $16,000 profit margin on this bid. And the contracting officer knows. That's why they ask for the unit price and the full amount. So that is the difference. Okay? So 23 and 24. Now the other one I was looking at, it wouldn't let me put the, go to box 24. And then she asked me to sign. Did she ask for 30? Yeah. So right here. Complete box 12, 17, 23, 24, and 30. Right, so this is what a completed SF 1449 looks like. Okay, right here, The method of solicitation was request for quote. All the other things that are empty, the contracting officer is going to fill out for you. All right, the date had to be signed. And then, excuse me, this is a full proposal that I put together and actually submitted. I had to put my name and address, right? More signatures. Now, the FAR clauses I got from my SAM.gov registration. When you register in SAM.gov, you have to pick through the FAR clauses, covered telecommunication services, to make sure that you're not sharing sensitive information with other countries, letting them know that I do not provide covered telecommunication services. So I had to attach all these FARs to the bid. Right, this came right off my SAM.gov registration. Excuse me. I put that all with my proposal. I was like, I'm not going to brown. We're just going to put it all there. Excuse me. Right here, if you look, evaluation. They told me that they were going to award it by price, technical requirements. The government will evaluate the firm's ability to best meet specifications. Oh my goodness. Excuse me. I just love my air conditioner so much. I just got to turn it down. The air conditioner is tearing me up. It's so hot. I wake up in the morning coughing. I don't care. I love it. I'm in the ice cold. So let me see. There was a lot that I had to attach here because this solicitation, the subcontractor was from another country. This was a tough one. I just wanted to show you. Let's see. I have to find. Excuse me. I have to find another one. That's not the one I wanted to look at, but let me pull this up. SF. Excuse me. Okay, here we go. All right. Bro, I gotta slow down with the air conditioner. They tear me. Okay. All right. No. Okay, this is the one I wanted to show you. All right. So this one came with a checklist as well. And I love this contract. I didn't win it, if I'm being honest. And I've actually showed it to you before. This one came with a checklist too. These are all the things that I had to have in place for her. And this is the same lady as previously, right? So she made it easy for me. She helped me be organized because I can just check off each box as I go. And that's exactly what I did. So she asked me, please make this the first page, right? Now, I talked about cover photos. I made a live video. Go watch it on how to use Canva to create a cover photo. I created this myself. Simple, easy. There's some personality there. You know, I added a quote right here. You know, we handle the heavy lifting so you don't have to. And this was a contract where we had to use like excavators, dump trucks, bobcats, things like that. So I used that in the photo. Then I did a company overview. Oh my goodness, what is going on? I did a company overview explaining who I was. I did a company overview. The reason why I added my photo is because contracting officers can't see you, right? So it's hard to tell like your personality or, it just makes it more personable. That's why I like to add my photo to my contracts, right? They want to see who's in charge or, you know, it's easier to understand how somebody presents themselves when you see a picture of them, right? So I put a company overview together. This was all through Canva too. Some past performance. She asked for equipment type. So I put some pictures. Don't be scared to put pictures, right? When they ask for something and they're looking for something, add pictures. If they're looking for past performance, like look at how cool this is. So this is the exact type of work right here that I was bidding on. And my subcontractor already did this kind of work. So I asked him, I'm like, can you send me like 4 or 5 pictures of work you've already done? He said, absolutely. And I put those pictures on the proposal so that they can see the subcontractor in action. A lot of these contracting officers, they know what the middleman strategy is. They know what subcontracting is. If you're subcontracting a project, be honest. Don't say, yeah, I'm the one that's handling the work when you're subcontracting it out and collaborating with a teammate and you're lying about it. Don't make that a habit, okay? Because they know that you're here for profit. They know that you're here to collaborate with subcontractors. They know that you're here to provide solutions, right? They're not in the dark about subcontracting. I always thought that in the beginning, like, well, would the contracting officer really know that I'm subcontracting? Yes, they do. They asked for some past performance. These were great pictures. These were good pictures too, right? She was asking for equipment. So he sent me, all these pictures came from the subcontractor. There was an amendment that was changed that went out. Basically, what it means, it's just a change. That's all. So the purpose of this amendment is to answer questions, and an amendment will go out when they answer your questions. Received and to extend the solicitation period from this date to this date. So she basically was just answering everyone's questions, and I'll show you that in a minute too. Now, I'm sorry, after you're done formatting, you want to review everything like 3 times, right? You don't want to miss numbers. If anything, you don't ever want to miss a number, right? You want to add too many. No, I'm just kidding. You don't want to miss a number, but you want to review everything at least 2 to 3 times, right? Because you don't want to hit submit on a proposal because you cannot take that submission back. So please pay attention and go over it over and over again. Oh, this is for the Yosemite. Okay, so that's the SF1449 here. Now this one looks a little different, right? She asked me to fill out 23 and 24. So I had to give her the unit price, which is $75.87, multiplied by 250 cubic yards. And that got me this total, right? So once again, unit price, amount are very different. Okay, they know that. They know that there's profit added there. They understand, right? They understand the assignment. In this situation, 20 cubic yards material was concrete. It was 105 per unit multiplied by 20, which got me this plus profit. Right, so the SF 1449 really is for their documents, but you still have to fill it out. And this was option B. Right, so this is what a full proposal looks like. Once again, they did the same thing that they did on the UTV contract. They asked for pricing and 1449 SF, and then they added another attachment to, again, right? They were looking for another attachment. So same things I did for the SF 1449, I did here as well. Now, if you understand your profit and you understand what it takes for your business to operate, you can add a margin here. But if you don't understand what it takes to run your business, right? Like an annual premium you might have might be $4,000, excuse me, you're coming up on the annual premium, you have to pay it. Add the $4,000 that you're going to add to your premium to keep your business running and alive to this contract. But at least you know in your mind, like the profit that I'm adding is specifically for my annual premium to keep my business running. Don't come out here and try to add 10,000, 12,000 just so you can go sit on the boat in Miami, okay? Just so you can run up with the girls in the Bahamas, all right? Don't do that. You want to understand what your pricing is, okay? Because if you get wild and you get out of control and you don't do your research, you're not going to win, okay? If the price is too low, you look like a rookie. If the price is too high, they're not even going to look your way. Okay, they're going to automatically just say nope, because if there's one or two people bidding on it, okay, but if there's 35 people bidding on the same project and here you come bidding $30,000 over, they don't have time for that. They're just going to move on, okay? So this is the fire and this is the understanding. So this was an RFP. You had to break down. ChatGPT also helped me with this, right? You had to break down the requirement and the understanding. They wanted to know that DD Logistics had this under control. They wanted to know how I was going to execute this thing. Was I going to come in and was I going to diddly daddly or was I going to do for real? So I had to explain to them in writing professionally how we were going to execute this with the subcontractor for a successful outcome, right? We wanted to come out there and help them move this soil from one specific place to another, get this concrete moved so that they can build their parking lots, right? We wanted to help them and they wanted to know how. Okay, so maybe RFPs aren't the best to go after at first. This is what this is, right? So explaining to them, we're responsible for loading, hauling, and delivering 250 cubic yards of soil from here to there. We estimate this to be a 10-15 minute drive round trip. We have the experience within the Yosemite National Park area to successfully complete this project in a timely manner. Now, I'm okay. I'm from Buffalo, New York, right? I've never been to Yosemite Valley in my life. Okay, I learned a lot about it when I bidded on it, but the reason why this was put here is because of my subcontractor. He had already done previous work in Yosemite Valley. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that area. It's a very beautiful area from the research that I did and the things that I heard, but I've never been there. But I was able to add this because my subcontractor has or did, right? He's already been in the park. So he understood the assignment of coming into the park, not causing too much of a disturbance, not blocking traffic, understanding that roads were a one way, understanding that highways were being worked on, exits were closed, understanding that you can't bring equipment into the park that is filthy or has debris all over it. He had some understanding that I did not have. Your subcontractors are collaborations. They are so helpful. Okay, so when I said that, I meant that because he knew what he was doing in that park. He had more experience than I did. It took me about 6, 7 calls to find him, right? I Googled him, but he still came to me with a lot of information, which I really loved and was able to put into the contract. Then I started talking about things like the types of equipment, um, how we're going to move things. All equipment is new. Crew members will wear proper PPE, such as high visibility vests, steel toe boots, hard hats while they're on site. They specifically asked that we don't use tandem dump trucks. So, yeah, I had to explain how I was going to do that, right? So, that was the full proposal. So, what was it, like 7 pages? Um, yes. So, this is how a proposal should look, right? And if there's any other questions, put them in the chat. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Every time you do, you will see my face. I go live every night at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Last few nights I've been late, but I love y'all for still showing up. So after, submit the proposal. Okay. And then your last thing, number 10, is to follow up. So let me put that there. All right. So you found a proposal that you like, right? That's what this live is about. You found a proposal that you love, but you don't know what to do after. Number one, you're going to read it carefully. Number two, you need to figure out what kind of type of bid it is. Is it an RFQ, RFP, IFB? Then you need to ask some questions. The questions that you ask, please make sure you read the contract carefully, because a lot of the questions that people ask are already answered in the contract, right? They're still going to answer them, but they're going to say something like, please refer to page 90. Please refer to page 101 to direct you to the document, to where the document can answer the question for you. Create a checklist. It will keep you so organized. Okay. You don't want to submit bids and forget documents. Okay. Because during the debrief, contracting officer might say something like, hey, Deb, you missed a document. And has it happened to me before? You know it has. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you, because we don't do that around here. I have put in bids where I missed documents. That's why I'm telling you to create a checklist. Start to build your proposal, right? Your cover page, all of your attachments, get them signed, get it looking pretty, get it organized. Then get all those attachments together as one. When I say as one, this is what I mean. Merge all the documents together to create a successful proposal. Format it correctly. You don't want to use font that's like signature font, where the contracting officer can't read a word you wrote. You want to keep it simple, like Times New Roman. I'm not gonna lie, like I know any other fonts, because I don't. I only know that one. But like simple, you see here, it's very simple. It's not something that where they can't read. Review everything 1 to 3 times. Just go over it and read it and make sure that it makes sense to you. Because if it makes sense to you, then it'll make sense to the contracting officer, right? Submit your proposal, and the last step is to follow up. About some proposals are awarded quicker than others. So if you're not hearing back within 1 to 2 weeks and that third week comes, reach out to your contracting officer and say, hey, I'm looking for an update on bid number, solicitation number, so and so, right? Or I'm looking for an update on the Yosemite Valley project. Sometimes SAM.gov will award you if you come up here to the top of the bid and click follow, unfollow. So now that I'm following, every time something changes with this bid, it will update me. Even when an award goes through, you can look right here and see who was awarded for how much, right? Then you can ask for a debrief. Just say, hey, what did I do wrong? I would like to respectfully ask for a debrief so that I can move forward in getting better with the process of bidding. Now, let me look at something for y'all. Thank you. Let me look at I'm going to look at the questions. I think she put out, was it an amendment? I'm looking for where she put out the questions. I don't know if she did. Did she put out an amendment for the questions on this one project? Um, oh, let me show you this. I feel like this is important to know, right? This is like real raw footage of me connecting with not a subcontractor, I'm sorry, a contracting officer. So this is the point of contact. I reached out to her and I said, "Hi, Lisa. I hope all is well. I am reaching out to ask if the bid solicitation number has been awarded yet, or if there is a set time frame on when awardee will be chosen." Plain simple to the point. This was like 2, 3 weeks after, right? Then she says, "We have selected another contractor and are in the process of award. I look forward to seeing your quotes in the future." This is why I started bidding on her contracts, because she mentioned that, like, and that gave me hope that she liked my proposal. Then I just said simply, like, "Can I request a debrief? Please, like, I have to know what I did wrong." And I talked about that in my interview. Debriefs are really important. And she was nice about it. She sent me a link. That link is to tell who won in SAM.gov and how much they were awarded for. So a full debrief is not available. However, I can provide feedback pertaining to your individual quote if you like. That was so nice of her. I felt like that was so respectful, because she really didn't have time for a full debrief, but she was still able to, like, provide me feedback. And I said, this is just, I feel like this is so raw and real, because this is a real conversation with a contracting officer, right? Like, no fluff, no gatekeeping. Um, and I said, "Yes, please do. I would like to get feedback. I would like feedback to get better with proposals in the future." All right. Then she comes with this. I've shared this with people before, but I'm going to share it again because it's important. This is how I ended up going from zero to $300,000 in contracts. Things like this, right? People taking the time to tell me the truth about what I did wrong, right? Sometimes people don't want to tell us, "Oh, yeah, it looks good. Everything gonna be all right. You was in the right." But sometimes it's okay for people to tell you when you're in the wrong and what you can do to make it better, right? That sometimes that is okay, especially in business. Um, so she says, "Your quotation packet looks very good." She said, "Your pricing was good with your quote coming in fourth." So I was out of 11 quotes received, and you won't know how many people are bidding on the contract until after. You can kind of tell with the questions and answers and stuff like that, but you really don't know until after, right? Now, if I didn't ask her this information, I would have never knew this. So I was 4 out of 11, which is really good. So the project narrative, everything looked good. You hit on all key points that we were requesting information on. I'm sorry, I gotta take this. Hello? Hello? What'd you say? No, I left. I know he's probably sleeping. Listen, let me call you back in about 10, 15 minutes, okay? I'm in the middle of a live on YouTube. It's love you. So she says, "My only suggestion would be to minimize the amount of exact language from the statement of work in the narrative, as it distracts from focusing on your particular capabilities and plan of action." So I used a little bit too much of the words from the contract in my proposal, right? So maybe a little bit too much. I think it was too much copy and paste on my end. But I was okay with that. Like, I took that and I understood. In the next contract, I can't do that. There was also a little bit of confusion with past performance. She didn't understand if the past performance was my clients or the subcontractors. So I could have been more clear there. And she tells me, "To make this section stronger, I would recommend setting your references up to reflect the exact period of performance, the company name, point of contact, a description, and the dollar amount." She mentions the dollar amount because then she knows that you have dealt with work in the past that is just as big as the project that you're bidding on, right? I would also suggest that if you're using your subcontractor's past performance, including the prime's past performance, which was me. I'm the prime, the subcontractor had his past performance, but I didn't. Okay. Perhaps including it with the company overview so that it further demonstrates your capabilities as a prime. Now, this is the debrief you need to see, honey, because not everybody's going to show you these kinds of debriefs, right? But I'm totally okay with it because the whole point is to inspire, educate, and to get you to understand that you can win a contract that can change your life, and it is not as scary as you think. Okay, these contracting officers are human beings on the other side of their laptops, PCs, just like us, right? They are nine to fivers, okay? They are human. They have families. They love sports teams. They eat like us. They're just normal human beings, okay? And she said that this wasn't a full debrief, but I beg to differ. I think that this was great. She also talks about the arrangement of the packet. She talks about how she would have liked if I would have kept all the government forms together. Then all other information. The photos of the equipment would have been better placed after the narrative. At first, I thought that the photos were the extent of the equipment description until I read further into the package. So she says keeping everything in sections demonstrates stronger organizational skills as a prime contractor. Now, I can't really talk um, about the bid I was just awarded, but from the time that I bid it on this to the award that I just won, this helped me because this bid that I just won with New York State, it's confidential right now, but what I can say is that proposal was very organized. The one that I was just awarded with New York State, it was very well put together. I could not have done that if I didn't see the mistakes that I was making from the very beginning. Okay, when she mentioned keeping everything in sections demonstrates stronger organization skills as a primed contractor, that stuck with me for every single bid that I have bidded on going forward. And if you see the contract from New York State, that really shows. It is organized to a T. These documents, everything was where it needed to be, right? So that's a blessing. And be sure to sign all forms. It looks like the SF 1449 signature block is blank. That was a big no no. Overall, I thought your package was well put together and it was competitive with the lower quotes received. I wish to thank you for submitting a quote for this project, and I hope that you will consider us for future opportunities. Please feel free to contact me if you would like to discuss further. So, she said that she couldn't give me a full debrief, but I beg to differ. I think that was a great debrief, and I feel like it was a full one, right? Um, and I just said thanks for the feedback. Like that was very helpful, right? Um, I felt the same way, Marcus. I'm like, she's like, oh well, we can't do a debrief. I'm like, no, girl, that was fantastic. Now I feel like I got the right teacher. I can't wait to learn more. I appreciate you and thank you for joining the master class as well. You got a free bid decision checklist in your email, and you also have the Zoom link. So July 24th, master class, okay, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. What we're gonna do is hop on Zoom at 11, and we're gonna run it for 3 hours, okay? Like, subscribe, hit the notification button because what's going to happen is every time you do, you're going to see my face. Make sure you're commenting. If you're watching on the replay, just put hashtag replay. Sometimes I can't see your comments right away because I'm sharing the screen, but John, let me put my email in the chat. .com. All right. So let's go back to this one. Was it this one? Oh, that's what I wanted to look at. The number 14, the method of solicitation, request for quote, right here. So if it was an invitation for bid or an RFP, they would have checked off one of those. So that's your answer to what filled out SF 1449 looks like. And I'm trying to see if I can find some questions. I don't know why I can't find any amendments. Is it this one? No, I wanted to it's weird that I can't find any responding contracting questions. Questions. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know. All right, so let's go back here. That's how I will put that proposal together. But you don't need everything that I had in that one proposal here. You just need simple information. All of the information that they gave you. Something about sam.gov I like too. So you don't have to scroll through. You can just click general information or attachments or history. Now, UTVs. I would take this information to FPDS. What that means is Federal Procurement Data System.gov. I want to know the last person who won this. The last person who was awarded a 4x4 UTV, how much did they win it for? Because then I have some type of understanding on what the price range really is. I don't want to go too low and I also don't want to go too high. So I need some kind of data to understand like what I'm doing, right? Let's just put 4x4 UTV. See what we come up with, right? One thing I like to do is go to this this website really gives government. It's very plain, like no ads, no like everything's the same color. It's basically just like a database, but sort order over here, I click on date signed because that brings up the most up to date contract. So whoever was awarded a 4x4 UTV in the last year, how much were they awarded for it? So that I have some kind of number that I can go off of, right? Did they win it for like 11,000? That way I know I can bid in between 9 and 14 and be profitable, right? Or potentially win it. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this really quick. What was the place performance? Was it Wisconsin? VA, Texas, California, Colorado, Florida, Texas. So it was just one unit. I know that. And I know from based off of my history. This was in 2004. So let's take a look here. What I'm looking for, I'm just going to scroll right down to it. I'm looking for a section that tells me right here, Minnesota to Detroit Lakes, WMD, 4x4 UTV W2 trade-ins. It looks like the government traded in a 4x4 UTV. So that's very similar to the specs. 14,000 is kind of the range. But I think I can find something closer. I have to find something closer that meets the exact specification. Let's go up a little bit. I guess the state to me really doesn't matter, but I'm looking for something with a less number. 41,000, I'm pretty sure that's more than one unit. 32.5, that's more than one unit. 27, yeah, we're going back to 23. Yeah, these are all. This one's in Colorado. And I'm going to scroll down and UTV 2024 Kawasaki. Oh, that's not right. No, kind of 4x4 utility model, ice gray, but this was also 2 years ago, right? So Let me look at if any of these match. Now we have to think too. We need a lot of accessories. Accessories can cost an additional amount of money, right? Because I'm looking for the specs page. I lost it. But once again, I have 40,000 tabs open. Okay, wait. All right, let's drop that. I have too many tabs open. I think I just clicked myself out of FPDS too. Oh no, here it is. I need that one attachment right here. Oh, it's unauthorized. Really? All right. I don't know. I lost it. That was for the specifications, but let me just look up UTV. This one might be similar, 16.5. Let me look at this. I think this is right. Purchase of a side-by-side UTV for Horseshoe Bend National Military Park. Side-by-side is 4x4. So now we know that they were awarded a contract for a UTV for this price. We don't want to go and bid 30,000 when a company was just awarded on July 15th, a couple days ago, 2025, for a UTV. All right, so it looks like they just signed this contract. Actually, it got into the system pretty quick. This was 2 days ago. 7:15 they signed it. The work started about a week ago, and it looks like the completion date will be in September, almost October. They supplied it to the National Park Service in Kentucky. And this is why I love FPDS, because it tells you all the information of what's being awarded. So now we kind of know. Number of offers received is 5. That means 5 people bidded on it. I've seen some as many as like 30 people bidding on one thing. I'm like, I don't want anything to do with that. Well, then again, I don't know, but certain niches you will see a lot of people bid. So I would stay around 14,000 to 20,000 range, right? I wouldn't go over that because now I have some understanding of what people are charging for UTVs because he won that at 16.5. So a lot of that, mm, let's look up the 4x4. I just want to look up, why did they copy and paste it? 4x4 UTV. So now we're getting into more specifications, but the FPDS, this one probably had a lot of additional um, attachments because when they ask for UTVs and ATVs, a lot of the times they have a lot of different attachments attached to them, right? So it could have been for 7,000. He bid at 16,000, but a lot of that could have been additional pieces that they were asking, like they want a sunroof, they want heating and air conditioning, they want a tailgate on the back, they want a stint, or just like the document here that's acting funky. Don't know why. Now it won't let me open it, but I don't know what happened there. So there's a lot of additional pieces. But call your subcontractor, have a conversation. Okay? You're worth it. You want to know the price. You want to know what's going on, right? You want to know that you need 2 screens. Marcus, I need upgrades, right? you know I'm working on it. I definitely need 2 screens. I need a new microphone. I'm getting that new camera, right? So I'm super excited about it. I have been posting very consistently, and I'm looking forward to upgrades, right? So I was looking at the microphone you sent me. So shout out to you because I love that. Um, the camera, that's a future thought, and investment in a new laptop. Not a new laptop, but a PC, because I want to keep this and I want to get a PC, right? But that's future talk. First, I want to focus on the microphone. Um, if you like what you heard today, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Masterclass is July 24th, y'all. Okay, we got 1 week. 1 week. All right. I'm looking forward to sitting with all of you. All right. I'm looking forward to seeing you all there. Another thing, whatever you are thinking that is good, think bigger, right? You can get on these portals, you can get on these sites, you can pick a bid that you like. I also have a bid decision checklist. All right. The link is in my description. It helps you pick out a good bid so that you are not just throwing things at the wall and hoping that they stick, because there's a lot of bids out here. Okay, there's thousands of them. It's funny, when I was I'm not going to say when I was a broker, but when I first started brokering, I used to be so excited to get on an RFP, right? Because sometimes customers would ask for something here, like one quote on one shipment, two quotes on another shipment. I would be so excited not to bid on things individually, but get on the RFP list. Then I started realizing that when I would get on the RFP list, that there would be 100 to 200 brokers bidding with me. And I never won an RFP in my logistics career. All of my freight was spot market, which is like right here, right now. Um, and then I came into government contracting and I was overwhelmed because there was so many RFPs. So the tables turned for me. I went from being on RFPs that were 100 to 200 brokers, begging, not really begging clients to put me on the RFP, but really just being so upset to when I couldn't get on one, right? Because that's contract freight. The RFP in trucking is when you bring in consistent money all the time, right? Month after month, instead of just moving one shipment at a time. So I came from a world where I really wanted RFPs bad as a broker into a complete shift and a blessing to where I had so many RFPs to choose from that now there was abundance and overflow, right? So that was a really big blessing. And it's exciting to talk about because I'm like, when am I going to win an RFP in trucking? How am I going to bid against 200 other brokers? Some of these brokers have their own trucks. I don't. Like, some of these brokers are bidding $1 a mile. Like, I don't understand. And then I was moved to a space, shifted to a space where God put me in a position to be able to not ever have to beg or to convince someone to put me on an RFP. Now I have multiple options, right? Praise God. Okay, so um, I want you to pick a bid. I want you to start searching some bids on sam.gov or your local backyard or your state backyard, right? Because I want you to get familiar at how they look, right? I want you to know what an SF 1449 looks like. I want you to know what non-conclusive bidding means. I want you to know just what a standard proposal looks like. A lot of them do look the same, and a lot of them don't. But you're going to start seeing the same words, the same documents. Um, just start understanding what those documents mean, right? Understand why the government might not want you to work with Russia. There's a document for that. Or why you might have to sign a fire clause, like a rules and regulations. Start looking at some of these bids and understanding in your mind that you really deserve a win. Okay, there is a strategy to this, but it's not going to work out if you keep self-sabotaging yourself. If every time you pick up a bid, you keep asking yourself, well, why me? Why not you? Why not you? And why not now? 2025 is the year. It's time to pick up a bid and start looking it over. Okay, take 1 to 2 days, because once you start investing that time into looking over bids, you're going to start seeing that it is not as scary. Okay. A lot of us need to start bidding locally. Locally, the contracts are smaller. John, everything by John mentioned in the comments. Are you into micro purchases? Yes. I won a micro purchase, my first bid in government contracting with my county. Micro is 25,000 and under. I suggest that you start there because it is an easier contract to obtain. You put a price together, connect with the contracting officer, and submit your bid. There's no complication to it, right? And you're providing solutions for your own backyard. You're providing solutions for your community, right? How cool would it be? I know my kids love the park, right? If you can win a government contract in your backyard, 20 minutes away, to put a whole park together with the National Park Services, connect with that agency, put in a bid, and now you are putting together a park that is going to make kids happy and smile, right? If you can't execute in your backyard, you might have a hard time executing on sam.gov. Those are bigger proposals. I'm not saying that you can't do it. I'm saying start with your local community. Help there, because when people start seeing your face locally, they're going to be like, wow, you're the girl, you're the guy that put together this, and weren't you just awarded that? And aren't you in this class? And aren't you going to this networking event? And didn't you just get an award on stage for that? Like, people are going to start noticing who you are, right? You can figure it out in your own backyard. You got it in the bag, right? I went from local in my county, one, moved to the $300,000 contract. That was in the state. Now that I won that, and each time it built confidence. Each loss built the confidence, each win built confidence. Now I'm going to move federal because I feel like I looked at so many state bids that I'm going to move federal. And from there, then I'll have a master class where I went from 0 to 2 million, right? Manifestation. I'm going to manifest that. So I love spending my nights with y'all. Y'all know that. I was with one of my girlfriends. I'm like, I got a date. She's like, girl, a date? I'm like, yeah, with YouTube. I got to go. Like, I've created this habit where I got to be here every night because I know that people need this information and I want to make sure I'm inspiring and educating because it's important to me, right? So find a bid that you like. Once you do, now you know what to do after. Come back and watch this as many times as you need to. Okay? Like, subscribe, notification bell. Masterclass, July 24th. If you have questions, put them in the chat. Chat's over here. Put them in the chat. Y'all know I'm active. You know I respond. All right. I'm working on a new mic, new camera, and then y'all can start calling me Two Screen Shorty. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But we're working on upgrades. I love y'all for sticking with me when there were no upgrades. How about that? But pretty soon we'll have some. Shout out to Marcus because he's been helping me look at some additional upgrades. But I love y'all. I hope y'all enjoy y'all night. If you have questions, #replay, and I will respond. All right. Good night. Love, love.